The country's economy registered a 5.7% GDP growth for the first quarter, a slowdown from last year's 7.2%. Despite this, there is great optimism. The projected 6.5 to 7.5% growth for 2014 may still be achieved. Joining us tonight here on NewsLife is Ms. Rose Edillon, Assistant Director General of the National Economic Development Authority. Good evening, ma'am, and welcome to NewsLife.
Good evening.
Ma'am, what led to the slowdown of the economy? How much of a factor is the impact of Yolanda and other natural calamities to the performance of the economy?
Yeah, a lot of the slowdown we were able to trace as being the lingering effects of Yolanda. So, for instance, there was a slowdown in manufacturing, which we think was brought about due to disruptions in the supply chain. There was also a contraction in private construction, which we think is a reaction to the increase in the construction material prices for the first quarter.
Ma'am, given the budget to be spent for the recovery of areas affected by Yolanda and the increased government spending, do you think this will affect the second quarter growth and improve it?
For the second quarter growth, we expect something of an improvement from the first, but we know that the reconstruction is really yet to start in a big way. We think that the big reconstruction will be in the third quarter, and so that's when we expect really the big growth to happen.
Ma'am, what industries maintain their growth?
Actually, the industries that we expected to be resilient from the effects of Yolanda actually delivered. So we're talking about the IT BPM sector. It grew more than in what it did the past year. And there was also, let me see, the export-oriented manufacturing sector also grew. And it was only those sectors that were catering to the domestic market that experienced a slowdown.
Ma'am, how about the performance of the tourism industry?
The tourism was a bit affected, actually, by not just by the Yolanda, but also the Bohol earthquake, because as you know, Bohol is a tourism spot. And so the tourism industry actually experienced a slowdown. Although we have observed that there was an uptick in the transport, communication, and storage, most probably also due to Yolanda.
Ma'am, do we expect any other risk factors that could affect growth, like El Nino is coming? Do you think this will be a major concern?
Yeah, we are actually closely monitoring the El Nino, but as it is now, the Department of Agriculture is doing preemptive measures. They have already identified the provinces that are likely to be affected, and they are trying to put in crop diversification or crop shifting programs, those introducing crops that are very resilient to the extreme temperatures.
Are we still expecting for the agriculture to be a big contributor to our economic growth?
We really are not expecting much growth from agriculture this year, primarily because a lot of the growth drivers like coconuts were badly affected by Yolanda, and coconut is actually a perennial crop. It will take 7 years for that to recover, and so we hope that there will be crop diversification that could happen in the later part of the year.
Ma'am, yesterday the NEDA board approved a list of projects on infrastructure. How will this impact the growth of the country?
Oh, yes. We are expecting a lot from that because, as we have said yesterday, as Secretary Balitaan has said yesterday, we want to get back on track. The reconstruction will be fast-tracked, and the objective is really to get back to our growth trajectory. And that infrastructure is really a big part of the strategy to grow the economy, because we really want to improve the competitiveness of the country.
And ma'am, finally, what impact will the country's hosting of the World Economic Forum have in attracting more foreign direct investments?
We are expecting a lot, not just from the WEF, but also from the APEC, which we will be hosting here, because this will showcase to the world that we are ready. We are open. We are ready for business. We're open for business. We want to be able to showcase the reforms that we have done. We want to show the world that the economic growth that we are already experiencing, and the fruits of all those governance reforms.
All right, ma'am, on that note, thank you very much, Ms. Rose Edillon, Assistant Director General of NEDA.